Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Come on in, come on in. I'm so excited for tonight's conversation. As you see at the bottom, where you can learn more about Miss Kristin, and also in the chat where you can be able to visit more as well as you're joining in. But we are so grateful to have this opportunity to not only learn more about the author, but also learn more about the amazing individual this book is written about. So as you're coming in, thank you for being a part of our virtual author story time. You will have an opportunity to learn more about Kristin, her background, her as an author, and we have the privilege of hearing a live reading and learning more about Miss Washington. So as you are coming in, please share this live. This is an open event. Friday night, let's all come together. This is very informal, a conversation amongst individuals, and I will love for any questions, any comments that you have, put in the chat, and we'll be able to display it and talk about it as well. And so, again, as you see at the bottom is where you can follow Kristin, and also we're going to jump right in. I see viewers are coming in, so thank you so much for joining us this evening. So first, let's introduce Miss Kristin. How are you this evening?
I am wonderful. How are you?
I am awesome. It's Friday, a long school week. The weekend is here, so hopefully we'll be able to get some rejuvenation this weekend. So I'm excited because what I always love to start with everyone that I talk to is just the beginning, because I believe everyone's journey to becoming a published author is different. And so I would love for in your description, you just kind of tell us about yourself and maybe just the beginning of how you even got to this place of being an artist, because you're so many things. So however you want to go with this conversation, I'm here for it. So just the beginning, let's talk.
Okay. So whenever I talk about myself, it seems like I'm talking like a lot because I do a lot, because I love to experience life. So me being a published author was on my bucket list. So I am a Chicago public school teacher. Shout out to Ashburn, where I am the music educator. I've been teaching 27 years, which is a whole lifetime. Okay. So my career is a grown-up.
Okay.
So along with being an accomplished educator, I also am an Oppenheimer winner. I won 30 mini pianos for my students a while back. So that's really a great accomplishment. And one other thing that I really love to do is I really love to sing. And actually, I just put my videotape in for The Voice.
Oh my gosh, that is so amazing.
Yeah, I did audition too for The Voice some years back. It was like, oh my gosh, 5 hours long. And, just to get up there to finally see the producers and they like let me sing or whatever. Didn't get picked, but that's cool because in life's journey, you have to go for what you want, whether it works out or not. So, that's always been a great thing. I'm also the commissioner of cultural arts for Country Club Hills. Okay. So I do programming for different type of arts of all kinds. We had a successful arts event last year. Couldn't do anything this year because of the Rona.
Right.
Yeah, but I really love doing that. And we have a whole committee and we love planning fun things. We had a comedy show last year, so that was really great. What else can I tell you about me? I'm a massage therapist too. Awesome. So I've been doing that for about 20 years. I always wanted to do it. It was on my bucket list, so I did that as well. Right now, my radio show is on hiatus, but me and my husband Miguel, we have Revival of Praise. So hopefully we'll be back on soon. But to talk to you about this little beauty, I always wanted my aunt to have a children's book. She's had many plays. She's had books written about her. We're working on a movie right now. But actually, what sparked it was I went to, I don't know if you've ever been to Dixon School, how they have the big bazaar. Yeah. Okay, so I was talking with one of the gentlemen who owned a bookstore, and he said, oh, well, check out my children's books. So I ended up buying Mr. and Lady Day, which was about Billie Holiday. Yeah. And Billie Holiday was friends with my aunt, and she's actually in my book.
Wow.
So she inspired me from the grave. But I was reading it and I said, you know what? I've been trying to get my mom to write a book like forever, but my mom's a high school teacher. And so she was like, nah, that's not really me. So I said, you know what? I'm the elementary school teacher. I'm going to write it. And so through my whole process of writing the book, these are all of my mom's memories.
Mm,
And it's really a historical fiction book
okay.
because it's not fantasy. It's all real life and the things that she did. And she overcame so many barriers because she was actually the first queen of the blues.
Yep.
There have been several before her, but she was queen of the jukebox. She was in a time where you had to come through the kitchen. When her kids got in the pool in Las Vegas, they drained the pool.
Mm,
So she just had to go through a lot of hardships. When she sang with the Lionel Hampton Band, she was the only woman. And so, they had to use a green book, which you're going to find out about that in my book. And I also have a green book to show the kids. So she just really had to go through a lot.
I love it. And we're gonna get to the part after you read where I want to learn more about the research. So even you just telling me about like memories from your mom and just like those
Mhm.
types of stories. I absolutely love documentaries. Like I love hearing the history about all artists. Like, and I was very excited when I came across your book and when you reached out to me because I just love music. And so it's just so important to be able to hear someone's story, hear about their background, because you see how it impacts the music that they write, right? And the things
Yeah.
that they went through. And so I'm excited to hear the reading and also just to dive deeper into what that research process looked like. But before we get to the process, when did you start writing? So I know you said, you knew that she needed a book. But when is this like the first time you've ever attempted to do a children's book or a book period? And then when did you actually start writing the story?
Well, you know what? It was several years ago, and my principal, Jewel Diaz, I don't know if she's on here or not, she always stretches you. And
Oh
so
my
one
God.
year,
Okay, so first and foremost, I know Jewel and she's amazing.
oh,
And we
oh,
worked out together. She's awesome.
oh, cool.
Such a small world. But yes,
So
continue.
she's been my principal for 15 years. And
Wow.
whatever idea I come up with, she's like, okay, go ahead and do it. She lets
Yes.
me do all my field trips. But this one particular year, I wasn't teaching music yet. She gave me the music position like 8 years ago. But before that, I taught fourth through eighth. So one year she said, I want you to be the writing teacher. I was like, the writing teacher? Oh my gosh. So I was like, I don't know if I can do it. She said, I think you'll be great. So for about 2 years, I was the writing teacher, and it was very labor intensive because I had 3 classes. And if you know anything about teaching writing, you give essays,
Yeah.
and so to read 150 essays on a regular basis is a lot. But from that, I really grew to love writing because I liked the ideas that the students came up with, and it really brought the writer out in me.
Mm,
I've always journaled
yeah.
since I was probably like in 8th grade. I've always like had a little journal of some sorts throughout the years, but I never thought that I would write a book. I just didn't even want to. But after I became the writing teacher and I really liked it, God was just planting the seed. You know how God does. He doesn't just say, you're going to do this. He like sets you up to do it.
Just like
And
you
so,
said, you wasn't ready. He's like, no, I'm gonna get you ready. You don't.
right, I really wasn't ready. But before this, I had thought about writing another type of book.
Okay.
And I was like, it just seems so daunting. But because Dinah Washington has been my passion for pretty much all of my life, even I never met her, but I did a presentation down in Huntsville about 2 weeks ago. And someone came up to me and they said, so how old were you when she was alive? And I was like, I wasn't alive. I wasn't even born yet. And they said, really? Because you talk about her like you knew her. So, but I do know her, and
Yeah.
it's through my mom's and my aunt's memories, which my aunt has passed on now.
Okay.
But it's through their memories and their love for her. It really kind of like gave me a love for her. And so, since about the age of 6, I would always pray, God, let me meet my Aunt Ruth. Because to me, she's Aunt Ruth. I just call her Dinah Washington because everybody else does, but she's my Aunt Ruth. So my passion just for her and getting her story out there, that's what made me write the book.
And is she like your mom's sister? Like,
Yes, she's my mom's oldest sister.
Her oldest sister. That is so amazing.
Yeah, and it's so funny because famous people have to be related to somebody.
Exactly.
And so people be trying to quiz me like, yeah, and her mom had a bookstore. I was like, yes, my grandmother had Little Star Studios on the west side and she sold books. And they were like, oh, okay.
Fact
You really are related.
So I know you said in your pursuits of becoming an author, you always wanted to kind of write. So my question is, I know you wrote this story about your aunt, but what are the inspirations for this story that you write? Do you believe you will write another book? Do you believe in writing about people's untold stories? Like, even when you said you already had on your heart a book, is it a particular type of book or stories that you're trying to get out there as an author?
Well, I was thinking about my life story. You know, people always write books about their life story.
Yeah.
I'm not sold on it yet, but I know I've come through a lot of obstacles. By me being able to sing, I was often ostracized. People were jealous. They made me feel bad. And I'm like, is singing a blessing or a curse? So just kind of growing up and trying to be in entertainment and things not really working out the way I wanted them to. So that was one thing. But this isn't going to be the last book from Dinah Washington that you're going to see. So now I'm going to put myself on the spot. Okay. I do want to write another book, but I want to do a fictional book this time. And I want her to be like a fairy godmother to aspiring musicians.
I love it.
So through her life stories, to kind of, you know, bring it to other people so they can learn and so they can really learn from it. And maybe it would be like preteen through teenage book, because I feel like they need something that can motivate them to want to be in music and want to not give up. And so I think she had a lot of lessons that they can learn from, because this is just telling about her life. This isn't telling about like all of the people that she helped and the advice that she gave, because she was pretty rough. She was like a very blunt person. Whether she hurt your feelings or not, she didn't want you to get played. Right. But she was a little brutal in telling you, but it was out of love. And I think a lot of people, they kind of missed that about her. Like, she was a very generous person, which you'll find out in the book. But she was always trying to help somebody. And Patty Austin, singer Patty Austin, was her goddaughter. So she often had a lot of nuggets for her. And she discovered Lola Falana. She also discovered Quincy Jones.
What?
Yes, he was 22 years old, and she wanted him to arrange her album. And they said, well, we don't know who he is. She said, but I know who Quincy Jones is. I think he's great, and you're going to use him. And because she was who she was, they allow him to do it.
That is so amazing.
And so after that, then a lot of other artists start asking him to produce and write for them.
Wow. Oh my God. So this is like a perfect segue to now talking about the book. So I want you all to, as we are listening and learning so much more about Ms. Washington, even I'm excited about this book and just all the different things that you're going to bring to the forefront. Even when I was advertising about this event, I would include videos like online because I love just her voice. She just had an amazing voice. And I just think it's so important for us to know about our Chicago legends. And so we are going to, in this moment, listen to a live reading of the Adventures of Ms. Washington. And as you are listening, Kristin has some other surprises that she's going to share with us.
Yes.
And I will put in the link, the link for you to go and win and put your name in to be entered into our book raffle. We have purchased copies of the book to be able to be raffled off, and we will contact you if you won. But again, I believe that this book needs to be a part of everybody's home library. So you will see later on today the link where you can go and purchase it online, but also you can enter your name to possibly win a copy. And so At this time, we are about to have our live reading. I'm going to give Miss Kristin the stage, and we're going to all tune in to learn more about Miss Washington.
All right, here we go. The Adventures of Dinah Washington by Kristin Atkins and Mary Abbey. This book is dedicated to my mom, Clarissa Smith. Dear readers, on December 14th, 1963, my mother's world would be forever changed by the death of her sister, Ruth Jones. The world knows Ruth Jones as Dinah Washington. It is through my mom's memories that this book has come to life. Her contributions make the Adventures of Dinah Washington factual and entertaining. I love music. I always have. My name is Ruth Jones, and my mama said that as an infant I would crawl on the floor and hum music. At 6 years old, I sat at the piano and played the hymn that I heard at Sunday service at St. Luke Baptist Church in Chicago. Church was an important part of my family's life. I was born in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, but I moved to the Windy City of Chicago when I was very young. Chicago is an exciting city with many theaters, museums, and clubs. When I was 15 years old, I entered a talent show at the Regal Theater. I won first place. My dad, Ollie Jones, supported my music, but my mama, Alice Jones, was a tough cookie. She was a very strict and religious woman. She only wanted me and my two sisters, Clarissa and Estrelita, to sing gospel music. The Regal Theater was one of my favorite places to be. I told Mama that I wanted to be a showgirl when I grow up. Being around famous singers and musicians was my lifelong dream. Mama didn't have to worry about my brother Harold because he wasn't into music. I loved gospel music, but I also loved the blues, jazz, and rhythm and blues. After I won the show at the Regal Theater, I went on to sing at other clubs. Lionel Hampton and his band saw me perform, and he changed my name to Dinah Washington. I went on tour with his band for a short time. And this is the actual postcard from 1940. My singing adventures led me to meet phenomenal people, like Billie Holiday. She was my favorite singer. We even became friends. Mama even taught me how to cook. I became a great cook because of her instruction. My friends like to come by and enjoy my cooking. Duke Ellington and Earl Father Hines came to Mama's house, and we ate a hearty home-cooked meal. My mama was a wonderful cook. Her meals were always scrumptious. Mama cooked macaroni and cheese, green beans, black-eyed peas, Cornish hen, and blackberry pie. We all ate good that night. One of my dreams was to own a plane. Well, I got my wish and flew my plane to Las Vegas for a show. Being a Black woman in the 1940s and 1950s made life hard. I had to enter hotels and clubs through the kitchen or the back door. We also had to use a green book to tell us where we could get a room. The Green Book was a guide used by Black entertainers to show them where to stay when they traveled in the South. Also, I could only use the water fountain and bathroom that said colored only when I traveled to the southern states. And this was actually her car, too. I worked with Martin Luther King Jr. and Ralph Abernathy to help Blacks get fair treatment during the Civil Rights Movement. I love my siblings and children. I was very generous to them and often bought expensive gifts for everyone. Despite my hard times, my two sons, George and Bobby, gave me great joy. They often traveled with me on my tours around the country. I even performed with my boys in a dance routine. They were called the Dynamites. Furs and diamond jewelry were my favorite things. No matter where I went, I loved to wear fur coats and diamonds. Living the life of a star was fun, but it wasn't so fun when I had to be away from my husband and children. Queen of the Blues, Queen of the Jukebox. 1959, Best R&B Performance. What a difference a day makes. Eventually, my hard work paid off. I won a Grammy Award for the song What a Difference a Day Makes. Throughout my career, I was called the Queen of the Blues and the Queen of the Jukeboxes. During my life, I recorded 533 songs and 68 albums. I have appeared over 2,000 times with other recording artists. 3 of my songs are in the Grammy Hall of Fame. On December 14th, 1963, I got my wings. Now I can soar with the angels. A note from the author. This book is a labor of love. I have always admired my Aunt Ruth, aka Dinah Washington. She has been my inspiration and the driving force behind my own musical aspirations. I have always wanted to tell her story through her eyes. My hope is that every reader that reads this book will be inspired to write down their own adventure. Let your dreams take flight. And now I will read the Dinah Washington biography. Dinah Washington was born Ruth Lee Jones to Ollie and Alice Jones in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on August 29, 1924. Her family moved to Chicago when she was 4 years old. Her 2 sons were from 2 previous marriages to George Jenkins Sr. and Robert Grayson Sr. At the time of her death, she was married to Dick Night Train Lane, a defensive back for the Detroit Lions. She was crowned the Queen of the Blues and often wore a crown in her performances. Her diction was extremely clear. Every song she sang could be clearly understood and felt by her listeners. Dinah is considered to be one of the greatest female singers of her day. She demanded the attention of her audience in every performance. In 1959, Dinah won a Grammy Award for What a Difference a Day Makes, which was the best R&B song of the year. Her legacy will continue to live on through her music. Some of her family members are still alive and reside in the Chicagoland area. And on this page, it says, what do you want your adventure to be? Write your adventure here. So if you win a copy of my book or you go to my website, you can get your own copy and you can write your adventure here and inspire yourself. Mrs. Atkins is a Chicago native and is the niece of Dinah Washington. She is an elementary school music teacher. She is also a recording artist and has sung many musical tributes to her aunt. Kristin Atkins and her husband Miguel also host a radio program in Illinois. Thank you for your attention. The end.
That was awesome. Oh, let's give a round of applause.
Yay!
Yes. And we have some people in the comments who was leaving some awesome comments. Just want you to see it. The best is yet to come for you. It's from the
Yay! That's my friend Charlene. Hey, Charlene.
Hey, Charlene. And definitely I'll put in the comments where people can enter in so they can get a copy. So I'm so excited. And I just have, even from that, so many questions because I didn't even know a lot of those things. And so I'm excited to learn more about just your research and creative process. So first, before we get to that, why was she called Diane Washington if that's not her birth name? Like, how did that come to be?
Well, Ruth Jones isn't very glamorous. So Lionel Hampton decided that he wanted to make her name be, have more pizzazz. And so he just came up with the name.
Got you. I was wondering, like, was this somebody she looked up to? Like, how did the two names come together? It just came up. I loved it. Okay, so what was this process? I know you said you spoke with your mother and all of that. What was this like research and creative process like?
Well, I have to give shout out to Nadine Cohodes, who wrote a book that was about 700 pages. So she really had a lot of research in there. And then, I mean, the internet has a lot of great information in it. Mm-hmm. And then we have about, let's see, we probably have over 1,000 pictures.
Oh, wow.
So just going through all of the pictures and kind of letting the pictures speak to me and help me formulate what I wanted to say and what I wanted to include because her life was so full and I couldn't include everything.
Yeah.
So I just looked through the pictures and kind of pieced together historical facts and different things of that nature. And then the BBC also did a documentary about 13 years ago. So my mom was in it and her son, Robert, which I call him my cousin Bobby, he passed away this year, unfortunately. But he was in the video, the documentary. So I used that as well. And just my family's memories.
Wow. So I didn't know. So how did she get into like the activism? Just like how did she get connected into that circle? Did you learn more about that piece?
Of course. I did a whole presentation when I was in Huntsville. So I did a whole Google slide presentation about her entire life and her celebrity friends and her activism and different things. So hopefully, if the Sabo Museum gets wind of this, hopefully they will have me come do the presentation. Because it was a very great presentation and I sing in the presentation, what a difference a day makes.
So okay, Chris, so I already was sitting here like, at some point in this interview, she has to sing. So I don't know when you want to do it. I'm just putting it out there. I don't like, I have a lot of artist friends and I know the whole, like, if you can sing, let me hear you say something. I don't like putting people on the spot, but I would love at some point, you can even close it out. At some point of this interview that you will bless us to hear your voice, but whenever you're ready, you don't have to be
whenever I'm ready, but I gotta do it.
You just gotta do it.
I had an interview I had an interview 2 weeks ago from a radio station. They did a Zoom from Alabama. And the guy, I ended up singing, but the guy was like, I was trying to figure out how I was going to get you to sing. But he didn't have to force me because I did it.
You want to say hi? Come on. My son's like, can he see? You want to say hi? Say hi.
Hi. Hi. What's your name?
James.
James, how old are you, James?
9.
9. Okay, I hope you learned something today. Can you tell me one thing that you learned?
He actually wasn't able to hear the story.
Aww.
But we gonna get a copy of it. We're gonna make sure we heard. So we're learning about her aunt, and so we're gonna get a copy so you can learn more about her aunt. Before you walk away, though, can you ask her this last question? This question that's at the bottom, and then I'll get the answer. Go ahead.
What is it difficult? Was it difficult to get your book published at first?
You know what? Actually, no. And I'm going to say this: when it's your time to do something, God opens doors for you. And so, Andrea Best, who was my editor, I was telling her, oh, I really need a publisher. And she said, I have the perfect person for you, CKG Publishing, Corinthus Austin. And he was just awesome. So anybody that wants to publish a book, I would say go through CKJ Publishing because he was really awesome.
You know what? And the reason I always throw that question in because I think so many people we come across and we're like, you know what? It's a story that I want to write, right? Or you know that there are things that you want to get out there, but it can feel so intimidating, right?
Yes.
It can feel intimidating trying to get a book together, an illustrator, and all those different things. So did they also provide an illustrator for you? I know you said the publishing part was easy, but then how did you get the pictures and all of those things?
He got the publisher too.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which was really great.
The whole thing.
Yeah, and she was from London, so a lot of things like she had no contacts because that's not from here. But what I did love about her is that I sent her pictures and everything, and she really worked with me, and we just kind of through my publisher just went back and forth, and he was just really great because no matter if it was like supposed to be the last edit. He still was like, okay, you want this changed, so we'll just change it. And I know other people's experiences have been different from mine. Like their publisher be like, okay, that was it. If you do something else, you have to pay. But he never did that to me. So shout out to Corey because he was really awesome and he stuck with me through the whole process. He was encouraging and he always made sure that I was happy. Even now, he's still promoting it. It came out like in July. But it's like he still hasn't dropped the ball. He made another advertisement for me. He made a poster for me. He made my retractable banner. I mean, he was just awesome.
I love it. I love it. So definitely you all, if you are interested and you want to find an amazing supportive publishing company, she has already put that out there. And I'm sure they can contact us to learn more. I want to let people know who are watching. We're getting towards the end. However, I do love to be able to still share questions, comments that you are putting in the chat, and we will make sure that that's shown at the very end. So if you do have a question for Kristin, a question about her aunt, a question about anything that we're talking about, feel free to put it in the chat, and I will be sure to display it towards the end. My next question is, when you're thinking about the process you went through and just even all the different ways that you're involved in the arts, what would be some advice you have for aspiring artists? Because I know, and you can go that from different angles, because I know you have the singing, you have the writing, you have the radio, all those different things. And I think as an artist, it can be the one thing I've learned by doing these interviews. It could be very difficult in a sense of a little being vulnerable, putting yourself out there, right? Because you know the story, and you're like, man, this is my family. This isn't like a fictional thing.
Exactly.
But for you to say you don't like it, like, what do you mean you don't like it? You know, or even as a singer, you know, like putting yourself out there. So I would love to just, whatever comes to top of mind, what would be some advice you have for some inspiring artists that may be watching right now?
Do your homework. You have to get an education about whatever you're going to do. When I finally decided, okay, I'm going to do my book, D.A. Rhodes has a great writing workshop. and she is a friend of mine. And she's a radio personality on 102.3, but she was a great resource because she has this class and she also has an author's brunch. So you need to find things in your area that you can go to different workshops. If you are a singer, go to showcases, learn. And then they also have showcases where they have panels and you can talk to the people on the different panels, because no man is an island. You have to reach out to people and you have to make sure that you're learning as much as you can. Now you can't learn everything. Some things are just going to happen when you start doing it, and you still are going to get bumps and bruises sometimes, but that's just the nature of learning. But you get back up and you keep doing it. And then you need to get professional advice. Sometimes your grandmama told you can sing, but you can't sing. So I have a talent show at school every year, and the kids know if you can't sing, Miss Atkins gonna tell you can't sing.
It's only right. It's only right.
And everything. But I tell the students, you are not going to embarrass me and be on American Idol 10 years from now talking about you can sing and you sound horrible.
And no, they're going to say their music teacher told them they can sing. Like,
right. Lies. So you really need to get an honest opinion. And I'm also the vice president of the Gospel Announcers Guild, which we've changed our name now to the Chicago Alliance of Gospel Music Professionals. Okay. So we have people come through there all the time. I listen to people's music and everything. And even from that, we tell you the same thing. Get outside opinions on if you really have talent or not. I mean, sometimes people just are not good. And they need to know that. But then sometimes people don't think that they're good. And they're like, are you kidding? You're phenomenal.
Exactly. I love it.
So people can reach out to you because you have become very good at this now. And you know if a children's book is good or not. You're a professional. So they can even reach out to you and say, okay, is my book any good? And she's not going to steal y'all stuff and say it's hers. She has integrity.
Not at all.
You need to have people that have integrity too.
Yeah, I love it. And so the biggest thing I took from what you just said is like doing your homework, because I believe in anything. I mean, even as us as both educators, it's a craft. Yes. You have to always be growing at it, right? And then whenever you stop growing is when you start being able to really see the full potential of that talent. Many of us may have God-given talents that just need some more pruning, right? Some more cultivating. And we got to be able to be open to that criticism, because criticism is really going to help us get where we need to be. So I love that. And so I know you kind of hinted to this earlier. I'm also hinting at this because this is my last question. So whenever you need to warm up your vocals, you let me know. I'm just letting you know. So before we end with Kristin blessing us with a song, I just want to, I know you said this a little bit earlier. Actually, no, that's what I wanted to ask next. What do you desire next? Because I know you said you had some more you want to do in the series, but even in those other aspects, like what do you desire next in your career? That could be your writing career.
I have so much. You don't have to go on and on with me. I got this, girl.
Oh, girl. I mean,
okay, so I eventually want this to be a children's play. I also want a Dinah Washington doll. And I'm also going to be doing a Dinah Washington CD. So that when I do my second printing of the book, which will be a hardback, it's also going to have a CD in the inside with me singing all the music.
Oh, I love it. We're doing like covers of her songs.
Yes. I'll be doing covers of her songs because I do them anyway. I sing her songs everywhere.
I love it. And so at the bottom, you all, I know I've been scrolling throughout how people can stay up to date. So what's happening next and what's going on with you? Is there anything else you want to add beyond the website or anything that you know that's coming up?
Well, you know what? I just wanted to show a couple of pictures. This was her when she was 18.
Oh my gosh.
She also got married when she was 18, but she only stayed married like 3 months. She was married 7 times. So
wow. You know what?
Yes.
She sounds like Quincy Jones. Quincy Jones had all the marriages.
Yeah. Wow. And then this is her stamp that I got in 1993. The U.S. Postal System, they came out with the stamp. So Maybe a little hard to see hers, but that's something. She was also a person that loved to cut a rug. So she loved to dance. And this is one of her husbands, George Jenkins. He was a drummer in her band. And that's my little cousin down there helping out. She also loved to travel because she had to travel so much. She traveled with her kids, the Dynamite. And then if anybody remembered Bewitched, Barbara Eaton, that's her right there. And this was another one of her husbands, Rafael Campos, who he was in the series V in the 80s.
Okay.
And in the 60s, he was in a movie called Bird in the Cage. This is like Pat Boone. I know the kids are not going to know who that is. But that's like a couple of pictures. I can go on and on. But I just wanted to just share those pictures. And then this is an actual green book. So this is what people use to know what hotels or houses they could go to stay in the South when they traveled there. So great piece of history.
I love it. You know, before you do that, I just want to show just some of the comments in here before you do that.
Okay.
So, we have Sasha said, congratulations, keep the history alive.
I want to say something about Sasha.
Yeah.
Sasha did a production on Broadway, Sasha Sings Dinah. She did that back in the 80s. So we are so grateful to her that she is still keeping the tradition alive. She has some other exciting things that I'll let her announce. I'm going to be part of it, though. So you guys got to figure it out. Use your inferencing skills. But she's going to be doing something great. But I really thank her, and my family thanks her for keeping the tradition and the memory alive. She loves my aunt so much, and she's like a play aunt of mine because she loves my family. So thank you, Sasha.
I love it. When we were saying earlier hi to Shirley, I just wanted to see she said hi back. You also have Kevin who said hi, Mrs. Atkins.
Oh, hi, Kevin, my student.
When you were showing pictures, he just was like, she looked so young when she was 19. And then Sasha, I think she let the cat out the bag. She said, I heard you were going to be in a musical performance of Dinah Washington. Is this true?
Yes, it is.
Gosh.
I will be playing Dinah Washington and the lady, the queen, and the empress. If I got it wrong, Sasha, please put it in the comments so I have it right.
Oh my gosh. When is this due to come out? You, Sasha, when are we looking for this?
Well, next year it should be out.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. We're going to get to see you sing on the stage.
Yes, well, you know what? Actually, my sister wrote a play that we did for Mathers. We did it 2 years in a row, and I played my aunt then, and I sang her music. But that was like very small scale. This will be larger scale.
Oh, we can't wait. And you got to let me know when, because I will be there and I will share the word with as many people as I can.
Yes, girl, we friends forever now.
I know.
And that's not just Hollywood talk.
Okay, I'm serious. I mean that. So I think it's only right to see how we going to be in the musical. So you mind closing us out with a song?
Okay. Well, I'm going to sing a little of What a Difference a Day Makes, but I sing that all the time. So I'm going to segue into the another song. Okay? What a difference a day makes. 24 little hours brought the sun and the flowers. Ooh, where there used to be rain. My yesterday was blue, dear. Today I'm a part of you, dear. My lonely nights are through, dear. Since you said you were mine. Oh, every time it rains, pennies from heaven. Don't you know each cloud contains pennies from heaven? Okay, that's all you guys get.
Oh my God.
Go to my website and you can hear me sing all day long.
Yes, yes, yes. I just want you to see. Beautiful voice, by the way, Patrice.
Thank you. Patrice Bivens is the wonderful lady who wrote a grant to bring me down to Huntsville. She has the Valley Arts Entertainment and the Alabama Humanities Department. They brought me down to do a whole presentation, and it was wonderful. So shout out to Patrice Bivens in Huntsville, Alabama.
Well, I love it. I have so enjoyed you this evening, Kristin. I'm so excited. I hope everyone who listened in, we got to get a piece of a more intimate look into your aunt. Again, you all, I put the link in the chat. Please enter in to win a copy. Also, you see at the bottom is where you can go to her website and you can see more of her singing, more of her writing, her as an artist. And just thank you so much for sharing your family story with us. That is
Thank you. This has been a blast.
Yeah.
So my next one, I got to come back on and do.
Just let me know. I'm ready. I am so ready. Thank you so much, you all, for watching. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your evening. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.